schedule, and Elizabeth sex, I was getting zero writing done. Because of my work ethic, the guilt of pleasurable pursuits of the flesh versus writing scripts was killing me, and I broke it off, which made every subsequent shift awkward and sexually harassy for me. And, while I didn't necessarily want her anymore, I didn't want to know she was with someone new. I have the emotional maturity of a toddler, which is why it sucked out loud when she started dating a manager. It was my fault, because after a year, I was overworked. The weekend shifts were taxing, and I relinquished that role, opening it up to a slew of horrible managers Richard hired in my place. First, there was Zeke, a bad alcoholic who should have left the booze business years before. He ended up drunk one night and throwing a fruit tray at Sydney, to which my response was, "Okay, girls, let's go home now and get him fired tomorrow." Turns out we didn't have to, because he was found passed out in an office chair the next morning. Yup, restaurants. An industry riddled with true professionals. Then there was Kai, who was a great guy, but who clashed with Richard one too many times. Then there was John, who Elizabeth quickly took up with and had public displays of affection purposely in front of my face. In addition to doing this in plain sight, she liked to make sure I heard all the girl talk with the other servers in earshot of me. I was getting frustrated, coming apart at the seams. While Mad Bull's money was good, and our shenanigans offered me respite from Elizabeth-induced turmoil, i.e. watching Sydney take out her Nuva ring to pee in the back bar drain after hours one St. Patrick's Day, and the occasional after-party resulting in light nudity to name a couple, I was vibrating at a self-destructive level. Then we brought in Robert, whose last restaurant went under thanks to his leadership and whose horrible streak of decisions finally broke me. He decided to shave payroll on college football's national championship and a Lakers-Celtics game, leaving me alone with a full bar and restaurant. The tickets were spitting out and coiling on the floor like a ship's anchor rope, and people at my bar were getting ornery while waiting for drinks. I wasn't in the weeds, I was in the fucking sequoias. I lost my shit. Robert ended up comping over $700 to impatient tables while saving $57 in labor. Genius. The outburst I had made its way back to Richard, who was now in his Mexican cantina built on the back of Mad Bull's called the Spitting Chicken. Never got the story behind that one. With all the Elizabeth drama, this was the straw that broke his back with me, and I was let go. It got ugly afterwards. He gave me some fucked up speech about how I wasn't wrongfully terminated and that it wasn't a hostile work environment, even though it was an open secret that our newest manager replacing Robert smoked meth in the liquor room on a nightly basis. I'd secretly recorded that conversation and took him to court over my tried-and-true move where I got backdated settlements on unpaid breaks and fucking somehow lost, despite him yelling like an insane person during the hearing. It was a sign that the bar biz and I were no longer compatible, and this is how I wound up in Aspen. I got unemployment for a while, but it didn't last. He slandered me with every bar owner in town, and I couldn't get work. Finally, to stay afloat, I landed a writing gig on a TV pilot for Fuel. They were investing in the 18 to 35-year-old male demographic and wanted a prank show to lasso them in. My D-list comedian friend hired me, and it was on. I wrote some pretty funny and complex practical jokes, but the producers would reduce them into dick taps and other original simplicities Jackass had already overdone. Not wanting my name on this train wreck any longer, I actually quit, because integrity's a thing with me. Unfortunately, I did this on the first day of principal photography, and the star of the show lost his fucking mind on me. Since I was at the end of my mental rope and had a long history of suffering this narcissist's misplaced wrath, I was going to give him a much-needed built-up for years talking to. Long story short, he got me banned from performing at the Improv, I couldn't get a bar gig, and my car was eventually repossessed and I was evicted from my apartment. I was done with the bars, I was done with the entertainment industry, and my name was mud everywhere. I was barely surviving, treading water somewhere in the vast ocean of the in-between. Then it hit me like a cartoon anvil. Aspen. That's where my Boston friends were living, and I needed to make a huge change. So, with the final minutes on my prepaid phone, I made a life-changing call. Jesse the Manimal and Scotty, the best nine-fingered bartender you ever saw, sent me a bunch of money so I could escape from L.A. and meet up with them in the Colorado mountains to start life over. And that was that. I packed my pups, my clothes, and my TV, leaving all my furniture and everything else behind, and drove 19 hours in the aptly named Ford Escape to Aspen, where I'd take an overnight hotel desk job where I wouldn't have to talk to anyone ever again, and I'd finally be able to write my book. Like a comical The Shining. Or so I thought. But that's another story for another time. Sorry for the downer episode, but I felt I needed to share it. And if you're interested in the timeline continuity, go to episode 4, the night I tried to outdrink my girlfriend's dad, and you'll pick up where we left off. Well, it's last call, so let me give you a tip. When you're ordering, don't open with, "You're gonna hate me," because you always follow that with, "but," which negates your previous apology. Just give me the fucking bad news straight. Don't make me agree that yes, I'm gonna hate you. Give me the choice, for crying out loud. Folks, it's been a blast. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And a call to my fellow booze slingers. Send in your stories to cockedtalesandwastednights@gmail.com. You can remain anonymous if you'd like. Thanks for listening, subscribing, downloading, and spreading the word. Don't be afraid to give me a good review, even if you're lying. And if you want to support the podcast, check it out on Patreon. I don't have any extra shit there, but I'll happily accept donations. Worth a try. We'll see you next time on Behind Bars, Cocktails, and Wasted Nights. Cheers! Shake that shit, dirty dump into a tiki mug and garnish with a pineapple wedge and umbrella if you feel like taking an event. Oh, fuck. It was 2010, and I'd been getting by on the skin of my teeth. Fuck. Anyways, I was living off Ventura and Sepulveda Boulevard. It used to be a rainforest cafe, complete over... Fuck. He told us we'd all be opening the new crew... Shit. We looked on Motherfucker. As he walked around the space, pointing out how every booth, every drink rail, every TV, and every light all had been purposely designed to direct energy and patron flu. Fuck, flu. What am I talking about? I think he was expecting a slow clap or a collective understanding, from his perspective. Oh, fuck. Unless it's a job interview, because that's where there's an Fuck my life. See you Saturday, he said. Fuck. And with that, I became the Mad Bull's Tavern. Fuck. I worked all night, changing kegs, taking tables, and after I restocked beer, wine, and did glasses while the gorgeous bartenders counted cash... Fuck my life, that's not even a sentence. Motherfucker. The following conversation inevitably... The weekend shifts were taxing, and I relinquished my role... Fuck. First there was Zeke, a bad alcoholic who should have let the booze... fuck. I wrote some pretty funny and complex practical jokes, but the producers would reduce... Jesus Christ.